Group is California Capital's premier YouTube channel.
Yeah. All right. Hey, everybody. How y'all doing?
Go 3, 2, 1.
Hey, Sacramento. It is Wednesday. You are listening to 97.5 FM KDEE. I am Agent Key, and we are Selling Sacramento. On today's show, we are talking to sellers, potential sellers, homeowners. If you have a property that you're thinking about selling, this show is for you. We have outlined a guide step by step on selling your home during a pandemic. This is uncharted territory. If you ask any professional worth their weight in salt, what's going to come, what's around the corner, no one can guarantee anything. The best that we can do is plan to the best of our ability with the knowledge that we have and move forward accordingly. So on this show today, I want to bring you step by step. If you're a homeowner and you're thinking about selling, or if you know someone who's thinking about selling, perhaps you can take this information down for them. Before we get started today, I'd like to first give a shout out, or should I call it a shout out? ADOS, California, American Descendants of Slavery California Media, formerly known as ADOS California Media, now known as ETM Media Group. I am proud to announce that they are sponsors now of Selling Sacramento, 97.5 FM KDEE. Thank you. Yes, I am honored to say that they are now a sponsor. I will be speaking at one of their events in the very near future. And before we go to a break, I will play that announcement for that speaking engagement so that you can all take that down. It is regarding the reparations agenda, the AB 3121 California Reparations Task Force that will be seated next month in June. And so I plan to help them. They've asked me to help them put together things that they should be asking for. They've reached out to me. I'm honored. I'm fumbling over my words because I can't believe that they've reached out to me. It's an honor where they're asking me for my expertise and my opinion on what this package, how to help formulate and shape this package for the state of California as it pertains to home ownership, that section. We know there's so many categories in the reparations package. We know that there is the reparations package that's going forth right now nationwide. So the state of California is proposing one as well. And I'm honored that they've asked me for my input for this package. So before we go to the break, I will play that commercial piece that will talk a little bit more about that event. Before that, selling your home in a pandemic. So a famous salesperson once said, selling your home is essentially a transfer of feelings. You love and you cherish your home. You want the next person to fall in love with it also. Through photos, through words, and through the experience of walking through your front door. But perhaps the most is that you want to get the price you want. This is not a small task. Selling a home requires work. It requires time, and the journey isn't always easy. There will be frustrations. But when you seal the deal and you move on to the next chapter of your life, what a blissful boss move feeling, right? We will preview each step in your journey today. We're going to discuss how to know what you want, and if you're selling with someone else, what your partners might want. If you're selling together, how to understand the market and ways to make a plan. And most importantly, how to create the right relationships with the experts and how to trust them to help you get the job done. So let's jump right into talking about selling your house. Step one is knowing exactly what you want. What is your end goal? What's your purpose for selling your home? You need to know what you want and what everyone else who has some part of your property, that some ownership, what they want also, in order to sell your home with minimum frustration. Why are you moving? What do you expect from the process? Do you have any ideas going in already? When exactly should you put the for sale sign in the yard? The process of helping you get those thoughts together comes from reaching out to the correct real estate professional. We're going to take a break. When we come back, we're going to go over what some of those steps are And I did say that before we went on break, I was going to play the segment from ETM Media Group. So I'm going to play that right now. When it ends, we'll take a break. We'll come back and go over the list.
Focused on reparations.
Oops. Here we go. Got to get it right. It's coming, y'all. Do I need to be on here while it's playing? Let me see. I don't think so. Hey, y'all. I'm going to take it all the way out and put it back. Hey, Miss Angela. What'd you say?
Did you just pause it earlier?
I thought I just paused it. Let me see. Video file. Let me go grab it again.
The mass media group is California.
There it is. Okay. Let's see if I
Amend the mass media.
Okay. There it is. Let me take this out.
Amend the mass.
Okay. Hey, you guys. How's everybody doing out there? So I've got that queued up and ready to go. Thank you for tuning in today. Let's see. When in doubt, chuck it and start it over. Yes. Take it out and start it over. Let's see here. Love me better. Makes me feel this way. Let me see. Sellers, documents. There we go. I feel so bad today.
Why?
I don't know.
The humidity is out there, bro.
The who?
Humidity.
Is that what it is?
Yeah,
It was kind of warm. It's kind of warm.
Yeah, but it's not like hot warm. It's humid.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's just
Kind of yucky.
Yeah, because it follows you like a jacket.
You need a jacket.
No, I said it follows you like.
Oh, follow. Yes.
You can't take it off. Like, when it's just hot out, you can just go in the shade.
I thought you said you need a jacket. I said, please don't put on no jacket.
No, I ain't that bad. I'm bad, but I ain't that bad.
Okay. So I got it turned up. We're cute, y'all. We're ready to go. Let me get this ready here.
I'm not that bad.
Yeah.
I'm being cold.
Okay. I was waiting for the other music.
I know. You get so used to me.
Amend the Mass Media Group is California Capital's premier YouTube channel focused on reparations. Tune in Tuesday, May 11th at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. ETN Media will be joined by esteemed real estate agent and Selling Sacramento radio host Keisha Matthews, aka Agent Key. You don't want to miss this important discussion as we take a look at Black community housing issues through a reparatory justice lens, reparations.
All right, there it is. There it is. I played it. Yes, we are going to be talking about reparations on that date, and I'll be sharing more about that segment as we get closer to it as well. And again, I want to thank them for being an official sponsor of Selling Sacramento here on 97.5 FM KDEE. Now, selling your home in a pandemic. Before we went on the break, we opened up by talking about know exactly what you want. I want you to prepare to have a conversation with a professional by thinking about these questions. A really good real estate professional is going to ask you the following things, and you want to be ready to answer them. Number one, and this is a list that I have called seller interview questions. Over the years, it's become entrenched, I guess, in my mind, but I do still have it on paper. And some of the questions apply, some of them won't. But think about the ones that might apply to you if you're thinking about selling. Number one, what is prompting you to sell? Number two, have you sold a home before? Number one is important, what's prompting you to sell, because as you're in the process of selling, if you don't keep the main thing in front of you, and any small hiccup that occurs or any challenge that you might have, you may reconsider selling. But by the time you get the sign in the yard, to the time your agent gets it listed, and then you get into escrow, now you've got 2, 3, 4, 5 parties involved. It is a mess to try to unravel if you decide you no longer want to sell when you have all of those people involved. So you want to know what's prompting you to sell so that you keep that the main thing the entire time to make sure that the experience is going to be worth it. Have you sold a home before? This is important because many people who've sold have sold maybe 5 years ago, 10 years ago, and markets change, conditions change. What may have applied 5 or 10 years ago, or even 20 years ago. I know for a lot of people, they haven't sold a home in a long time. And those things may not apply now. And so you want to make sure that you talk about whether or not you've sold a home before. If you come in with your own ideas and expectations, it's a good opportunity for your real estate professional to lay out the new expectations. Did you have any difficulties with that sale? I like to use the phrase, everyone's financials unravel differently. When your friends or neighbors or relatives tell you about their home buying or their home selling experience, that is relative to their financials. I have never in over 17 years had the same real estate transaction twice, just never, because it's all going to depend on what your financial situation looks like. And what do I mean by that? Things like tax liens, back-owed child support, other people whose names are on the property that you didn't know about, other people whose names are on the property that you did know about. All of these types of matters, bankruptcies, divorce, spouses where you're separated, one's been living in the house for 10 years, the other one's been gone, and now you finally agreed to sell the house, maybe. All of these circumstances will cause the sale of your home to unravel differently. Definitely if you're out there trying to buy, but most importantly, if you're trying to sell, because it is escrow's job to do what's called provide clear title. Escrow, title and escrow is a clearinghouse. They are the middleman in every transaction. They should be. If your transaction is not being conducted through title and escrow, then it's very difficult for you to provide insurance to the other side that they are providing clear title, that there's no clouds, that if there's anything that goes wrong, the mistakes fall back on the title company because they're doing the footwork and doing the due diligence to make sure that they're transferring title to you in a manner that won't come back and hurt you in a financial or a legal sense, rather. So you want to have title and escrow as this middle person. And with title and escrow being this middle person, they deal with the IRS, they deal with the county, they deal with all these different entities. And so if you have any of those things in your past history still there, unresolved, they will impact the sale of your home. Those items have to be paid off. They have to be cleared before title can transfer over to the new owner. So know that. Many times, the amount of equity that you're getting back in the sale of your home can cover it. So it doesn't mean that you can't sell because you have a tax lien or owed child support. Many times those things can be negotiated. Oftentimes some of it falls off, but you don't know until you have the conversation. You have to be transparent. It's very important to be transparent with your real estate professional. And again, a good real estate professional is going to know how to help you navigate through that when you're trying to sell your home. I had someone come to me several months ago thinking that they were going to need to do a short sale. And a short sale is when you owe more on your house, on your mortgage, than what it's worth. When let's say, for example, your loan is $400,000, but the value of your house, you think, is only $350,000. Well, by the time the client came to me, I ran comps and looked at her situation because financially she was struggling month to month, but she wasn't aware of how much equity was in her home. She wasn't aware of exactly the amount she owed on her and on her mortgage, and she wasn't aware of the market conditions. She didn't know how exponentially the market had gone up. Needless to say, when we closed escrow, she walked away with $70,000 in her pocket. And she came to me thinking she was walking away with zero, thinking that we'd have to ask the bank to help to forgive a certain amount owed just so that she could close the door on this house and move on to another chapter in her life. So she was very grateful after learning that that was something she could do. So understanding your past history and sharing that, being very transparent, is going to be very important. How long have you owned the property? You'll need to let your real estate professional know that. They're also going to ask you, what did you originally pay? You don't have to have the exact numbers. We're asking you these things to see to gain an initial valuation estimate of what this is going to look like so that we can write up an estimated seller's net sheet for you. But before it's all said and done, we will request a payoff statement from your lender. We will request actual numbers. We are very resourceful. We know how to get all of that information. We can go back and look at the original sale, the last time the home sold, and see exactly how long or what you originally paid for it. How much do you owe on the property? Again, that's an item that we're going to eventually look up, but if you have an idea and you can provide us with some type of a guesstimate, it will help in providing you with an estimated seller's net sheet so that you know going in what you can anticipate walking away with before the transaction even begins. And then what is your existing financing? Do you have any second loans? Do you have any special loans? I cannot tell you how important this piece is. Many times, especially before the market crashed, there were so many different second and third loans attached to mortgages. In some instances, I don't even think people knew that they had a second mortgage. They may have known they had a second mortgage, but they didn't know how consequential consequential, is that the right word? Consequential, that loan is when they got ready to sell the property. Not only that, because so that loan has to be considered, it has to be paid off, but many times in some loans, when you have a second, it doesn't go away unless you sell the home or pay it off. And when you sell the home, they take their money and pay it off. And the ones I'm specifically referring to are those silent seconds. They call them silent seconds. And silent second means that it usually was money that helps cover your down payment or your closing costs, maybe somewhere $10, $15, $20,000. But you don't have to pay on it monthly if you don't want to for a certain amount of time. But it's still sitting there and it's money owed, and oftentimes it's accruing interest. And if you forget about it and you decide to sell, guess what's going to pop up? That silent second is all going to become a sassy, loud silent second. They're going to want their money. They're going to want to be paid. And so you will definitely need to consider that. Count that as part of the expenses in selling your home if you have a second loan or a third loan or a special loan. So share that information with your professional because they'll need to know. Is there anyone else on title is another question that you'll be asked. Who else is on title with you? Are you on title by yourself? That's going to be important. Anyone who is on title must be in agreement with you in selling the home. They will have to sign off on all of those documents. Is the home in a trust? And who is the executor? When there is a home that's in a trust, that's the best way to get a home sold, when there are a number of people involved in owning a home and selling a home, in particular for family. If someone, usually if parents own a home, they put the property in a trust, and there are instructions in the trust that their children, if the home should sell, get to split the proceeds. And you can actually specify the percentages that you want each child, which child you want to get a piece of it, what percentage of the home, the proceeds you want them to have, if any. And you also get to designate who gets to be the speaker or the main person to speak on behalf of everyone else, so that in the transaction, all parties are dealing with just one person, and that would be the executor. Another question is, have there been any energy efficient items added to the property? With this question, I also want to bring up these energy efficient products. Be very, very careful, especially the elderly. When these products are marketed, most of these companies that I've seen in my experience are not being very transparent with the ramifications of these products that they're trying to sell you. Many times, the way that they present it is to make you see, feel, and understand that it's going to cost you a minimal amount of money to get into it, and a minimal amount of money on a month to month. In some instances, they'll say, we just put it, they tell you some word that you don't even think about that really means it's going to be a lien attached to your house, but they don't present it to you like that. But they emphasize the part that you don't even have to pay on it. You don't have to worry about paying on it. I don't know how many times I've had someone, especially an elderly person, get ready to sell their home, come to me to sell their home, and we can't sell it because there is this energy efficient lien attached to the home that's $40,000, $50,000, $60,000, $70,000, eating up almost all of their equity, and they can't afford to sell because their whole plan in selling the home was to take that cash and use it to live out the rest of their days, either in a nursing facility or in a 55 plus community. They can't even make that transition now because this energy efficient loan that has been sold to them, they've been hoodwinked and have this, what do you call it, invisible elephant now strapped to their financial situation, and they didn't even realize it. And so I am not a proponent of energy efficient anything when it's not presented to the consumer and with full disclosure. You don't get anything for free. Somebody somewhere is going to have to pay for that. And it's going to be you if it's attached to your home. Because here's the other part. Something else that another way they might be packaging it is to say, oh, it gets sold to the next homeowner. The next person that buys your house takes on the debt. Well, there's two issues with that. Depending on how that company attaches themselves to your property, they may place themselves in what's called first position. And if that happens, then that means when that home sells, they need to get paid. The other thing that could happen is that it may not be transferable to the next person. The next person who buys it may have to qualify just like you did. And so then that would then filter out the potential buyers on your property. There are so many different scenarios because a lot of these companies now have them packaged differently. So I encourage you to make sure that you clearly understand how to get out of that loan. Keep it very black and white. And if they can't present it to you in a black and white manner, you don't need it. If you can't see in writing, this is how you get out of it, then you don't need it. Because eventually you will want to sell the home, and an energy efficient loan, not structured or not presented to you the right way, will hinder you from doing that. Another question, is there a prepayment penalty? How much? On your loans, on mortgage loans, sometimes there's a prepayment penalty. I've not seen one in a long time, but sometimes there are. And so you'll want to know, you want to check with your lender before you list your home to see if you have a prepayment penalty for selling your home before the loan is paid off. Next, have you refinanced? If you've ever refinanced your home and you get ready to sell it, know that the money that you took out, if you took anything out, is not going to be seen when you sell it because you just took out your equity in the refinance. Ladies and gentlemen, keep that in mind. Refinancing your home is equivalent to treating your house like an ATM. So if there is a certain amount of equity in your home, if you have $100,000 in your home and you refinance and you take out 50, and then 3 months later you want to sell, you should not expect to get $100,000 because you took out the 50, remember? So you should be expecting somewhere around the 50 minus the cost to sell. So if you're thinking about selling and thinking about refinancing, and you end up choosing one over the other, just remember, keep that in mind. Next, have you considered what price you believe your home should sell for? It's really easy to go to websites like Zillow to look up what you think your house is worth. Remember, Zillow actually has a disclaimer on their website saying that their Zestimates are not accurate Their estimates are not accurate. There are only a few people who can give you a very close estimate of what your home might sell for. That is a real estate professional who has been in your home, who is very familiar with market conditions, and who can provide you with a thorough and complete valuation of your home. And then there is an appraiser who is also very familiar with the area, with your home. They've been in your home and can provide you with that valuation. And I said a few people, really, there's only two. Those are the only two people who can truly provide you with an accurate assessment. Zillow can't do that unless they can get somebody in your front door, and God knows they tried. A couple of years ago, they started, this, and they're still trying. They're trying to get into your front door because they know that at the end of the day, selling real estate, helping people buy and sell is a relationship business. There are some people who don't need the relationship, of course. And that's where the virtual companies like Purple Bricks and Open Doors, that's their market segment. People who don't necessarily need a relationship. They just want to get it sold fast and they don't have any emotional attachment. They don't care if they leave money on the table. Those are the types of companies that are coming for you, if that's you. But for people who care about how much money they leave on the table, they want every dime. They care about who's walking in and out of their home. They care about the relationship and the bond with the real estate professional. Those of you who are like that, this show today, this is for you. Those are the only two people who are qualified to give you a real valuation of your property. So if you have gone on to Zillow or these other websites and they've given you this number to say your house is worth XYZ, let your agent know that that's the number that's in your head, because they need to help talk you off the cliff if it's overpriced or if it's underpriced. And I'll give you an example of what I mean by when you see a Zestimate. Here is how that happens. Let's say we have a main road, and on one side of the street, we have houses valued at $250,000, $275,000. And on the other side of the street, we have $400,000 homes. Those homes on the left side of the street that are at $250,000, $275,000, let's say a couple of them are close to the road. And we cross the major road, and there's the $400,000 home. We got a couple of those close to the road. What Zillow does, they throw out a radius search. And if you think about what is a radius search? It's exactly what your mind envisions. It's a circle that gets drawn around an area, and everything within the circle gets calculated and averaged. Well, guess what happens when that radius captures part of the left side of that neighborhood, the 250, 275, and the right side of the 400,000? Your $250,000, $275,000 value home is going to go up in Zillow's eyes because they're pulling in this $400,000 house that is across the street in a whole nother development, has nothing to do with where your house might be located. Or you might be the $400,000 house and you lose value because Zillow has pulled in this $275,000 house. It happens all day long. And it's not just from the radius searches that they're doing. It's also because they pull their information from tax records, which, if you didn't know, they're not always accurate because people don't. Number one, there are humans entering that information in the tax records. People don't always report when they increase their square footage of their home or when they make different changes. Sometimes when escrows close, information doesn't always get transferred exactly, but that is another resource or an area where Zillow relies to pull in information and data about the value of your home. And so to that extent, they get it wrong a lot. And they get it wrong enough where we have to advise people not to depend on that. But they do such a wonderful job of marketing. They make you think that is true. What Richard Pryor said, who you gonna believe, me or your lying eyes? Isn't that what he said? Think about that. What do your eyes tell you? When Zillow says that your house is worth more, just kind of look around. It's not rocket science. It's very black and white. And the information is able to be found out, the true information. So don't give your listing agent a hard time when they come back and tell you that that the homes in the area around you are actually selling at this. And I say that even with a caveat, because right now in this market, numbers are all over the place. So if we've got houses in a neighborhood selling for $400,000 one month, and then the next month they're up to 410, 415, 420. And that is definitely something that we are seeing in this current market, but it's not normal. Keep that in mind. It's not normal, and it will change. It will change. When will it change? I don't know, but it will. Any upgrades or updates? Have you made any upgrades or updates to your property that might add value? So, if you've got a ton of DIY projects that you've got a lot of pride in, I stuttered a little bit when I said that. If you have completed a project on your own in your home, and how can I phrase this? The projects that you've done in your home need to have a professional finish to them. How's that? They need to have a professional finish. If you've laid down flooring, vinyl flooring, wood panels, whatever, the trim needs to be clean. There needs to be trim. The angles need to be smooth and orderly. If you've painted, the paint job needs to be professional. With HGTV, it gets us excited to do these DIY projects, and I do them too. I love doing them. But at the end of the day, if you want that DIY to transfer into value, you want to be a professional at what it is that you've done, or you want to hire a professional to do it. And I also want to add that not every project translates into value. What projects translate into value? Kitchen remodels, bathroom remodels, appliances, adding appliances. When you do custom fixes and upgrades and things in your home, remember you're doing that for yourself. If you want to do a custom fireplace or mantelpiece and you want it to translate over into value, do some research on what that needs to look like. But if you're doing a custom fireplace that's got aquamarine shellac to match the blue marble tile that you've got going down your wall and the electric blue paint, and you absolutely love that, that may not translate to the next buyer. They may not like that. And you definitely want to take your feelings out of the equation when you're trying to sell your home. Depersonalize and neutralize is the name of the game when you get ready to sell. Take your feelings out and take the advice of your real estate professional when it comes to any customizations that you may have done. If they are not easily removable, then you may have to there may be some devaluation on the property depending on how large the project is. What items in the property might need repairs or need to be replaced? If you've lived in the house, you know how the house functions. You know if there's a clanging when you turn on the water. You know if it takes a long time for the water to heat up. You know if certain electrical outlets don't work, or if you turn on this TV in this room and 4 other appliances in the other room, it pops out the power on the side of the house. You know if all of those things are happening because you've lived in that house. So these are things that you want to bring to the attention of your real estate professional so that you can get in front of them before you start getting offers on your house. You don't want to dress up the house and make it look good, but then it actually have all these issues, because that will only cause a couple of things to happen. Your buyer is going to ask you to make those repairs, possibly. They may decide they're going to walk, and it may, just completely end your escrow. It may cost you more money in the end if you don't mitigate it up front and get those things taken care of. At least get some home inspection reports done so that you know the extent of the work that needs to be done on the home, so that you can, attach the reports to your listing up front and tell the buyer, we're selling it as is. Here's what's wrong with the house. Here's everything that's right with it. Here's what's wrong with it. We already know. We've priced it for the condition. So keep that in mind. How soon can you meet with me to preview the property? An agent is going to need to get in to see the property to provide you with a right valuation of the property. So make sure that if you are living in the home, or if you haven't been in the home, or if you've got tenants in the home, plan to make the home available and accessible to the listing agent so that they can get in, go over all of these items, give them a preview of the property, a tour of it, tell them everything that you know to be wrong so that they can take copious notes, make notes, tell them everything that you've done to improve the home over the years. Within the past 5 years, if you've updated the home within the past 5 years, those are things that are going to be, that will add value to the home. If you updated the home 10 years ago, those are not considered recent updates. They might look very nice and you may have taken very good care of them, but they don't equate to recent updates. So for example, 10 years ago, what was trending 10 years ago in home improvement is not trending today. Those things change, those styles change. And so when we say update, recent updates, we're looking for updates that are going to attract buyers that are looking for amenities in accordance to current design standards. Okay, we're going to take a break. When we come back, we're going to finish off. You're listening to 97.5 FM KDEE. I am Agent Key, and we'll be right back. Did you want me to say that?
Oh, no. Somebody was asking me about it, and I wanted to make sure I had the right times.
Oh, okay. Because
I think Tristan was asking me to say something.
I think he was.
But I was not.
Should I? Do you want me to?
It won't hurt.
No. What?
It'll get a big day giving out Thursday.
Oh, for the chamber?
Yeah.
Of course. Of course. I will do that. Interview and select an agent.
My brother's so
Your brother?
yeah. He said, I'll just leave it at that. He's survived to be 66 years old.
You know, I'm not surprised anymore by. I used to think that age equaled wisdom. It don't.
No, and I never thought that. I just hope it. You know, especially in certain instances, right? You hope it.
Yeah.
Even when you know it ain't really the case, you even hope sometimes that the light will come on. But it doesn't.
The light.
Yeah. Because he's texting, I'm like, man. I'm like, God, you said that I guess I'm supposed to be the one glue in the family, but it doesn't get much. Me and my brother Anthony were talking about, he's about this love me. And he said, man, it's just me. It doesn't seem like them older jokers is gone. I said, man, I think they spend too much time in Arizona and the sun just baked their brain follicles or something.
Oh my goodness. I don't know what it is with people. I don't know what it is.
But all his moves really make no sense. You know, I just. So I get to deal with two of them when I leave here. Nice.
You just gotta be there for them when
I don't mind that aspect of it, but don't make it worse.
Yeah.
You know, and he just keeps making it worse. And then he's going through a lot of things in life.
Well, you know, one of the things about people is that even though you're never too old to change, no matter what's going on. I've heard so many stories. I wish I would see it happen more often. But yeah, because people get set in their ways.
I completely agree with you.
Yeah. But if you really want to change,
he ain't changing though. I'm like, dude, and it wouldn't bother me if it didn't affect me.
Right.
Because I really don't care what people do in their life. I just don't. As long as it does not affect me.
Yeah. Oh, we're back.
And he's always affecting me.
You're so silly. Oh my gosh. I'm going to say a prayer for your brother.
And me too.
And you.
2, 2, 1.
Hey, Sacramento, we're back. I want to mention this Thursday, May 6th, is the 24-hour big day of giving. And the California Black Chamber of Commerce invites you to the first Driven and Given.
That's it.
Driven and Given from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. at 1600 Sacramento Inn Way. Come, drive up, and donate. You don't have to get out of your car. Once you donate, you'll receive a shout out right here on 97.5 FM KDEE. And this is your chance to donate to the California Black Chamber of Commerce. No donation is too small. Please donate to the California Black Chamber of Commerce. Every donation that you give is a contribution toward the chamber continuing to be a resource for local and statewide communities. See you Thursday. Come on by, y'all. On our show today, we're going to wrap up selling in a pandemic. So I just went through that list before the break of questions that you need to be prepared to have answers for with your agent. Next, you want to do your research. Unless you bought your home last week, the housing market has changed. Mortgage rates fluctuate, inventory shifts over time. These are just a few of the factors that affect the state of the market, and every market is unique. So educate yourself on what to expect. Next, interview and select an agent. This is the most important relationship you'll form on your home selling journey. Pick the right agent and you'll likely get a better sales price for your house. How to pick the right agent? I did that episode last Wednesday. So go back to last Wednesday's episode and you will see how to pick the right agent. I'll actually, if you're watching on the show right now on social media, if you're watching live, I will go back in this episode and attach that link because there was a lot of good information on how to interview and select the right agent. Pricing your home. How much is your home worth? That's the $300,000 question, $400,000 question, whatever the number, you need to know it. And I will tell you, with the market fluctuating the way that it is in this pandemic crisis, real estate market, with everything just so unpredictable, if you trust your agent, let me say it this way. If you've got a good agent and they're telling you how to properly price your home, trust them. Chances are, if they are pricing it conservatively, there's a possibility that you may receive more than what it's worth. But don't go in trying to price your house higher than you should. You'll end up in a lot of trouble. So if your house is valued, if the houses around your home that are similar to yours have been selling between $425, and you say, hey, I think I can get $460, and you're going to have some agents probably even reach out to you telling you can get some obscene amount of money for your home. That's just to pull you in. It says nothing about their character, their work ethic, their professionalism, their experience, nothing about that. You want an agent with character, professionalism, good work ethic, and a lot of experience. And if your house can pull in more money, that agent will get your home sold for top dollar. If that agent says price the home at $410, trust them, because that means that that's going to pull in the largest amount of viewers to get your home sold for top dollar. And that top dollar might not be $410. It might end up being $420, $430. But trust your agent. If you go in wanting more up front and you insist that your agent prices it higher, you're going to end up in a position where your house may stay on the market longer than it should. You'll end up having to reduce the price anyway to get it sold. And so you'll end up staying in this situation longer than you should and coming out with less money. So make sure that you price it right. Prep your home for sale. Today, home buyers have unfettered access to property listings online. So you have to make a great first impression on the internet and in person. That means you have to declutter all the stuff you've accumulated over the years, make any necessary repairs, and get your home in swoon-worthy condition. Swoon-worthy. Make me go, ooh, when I walk in the front door. Because people buy based on feeling most of the time. Feelings will get it sold. And if you can make me feel from the time I turn into the neighborhood, park in front of the house, it needs to have great curb appeal. When I walk through the door, I'm now smelling and seeing and hearing. And you want to make sure you've addressed each of those areas. What do I smell? What am I seeing? What do I hear? You want to control all of those things to make sure that the buyer has the most pleasurable experience when they're viewing your home. Next, market your home. Home buyers look at countless listings. The best marketed homes have beautiful photos, compelling property descriptions, and so on. Good agents use videos, virtual tours, text, mailers, audio, all of these things to promote your property. Showcase your home. Make sure it's in show-ready condition. Once you get all of those things in place, and this is through your agent, you're going to receive offers and possibly multiple offers. Your agent will review each offer with you to determine which one is best for you. And the offer price isn't the only thing to consider. Next, you'll enter into negotiations to get the best deal. Your agent will craft a strategic counteroffer if necessary, factoring not only money, but other contingencies, times, things that are important to you. Remember the very first thing? Why are you selling? This is that time when the why are you selling is going to come up. Negotiate home inspections and repairs. It's an anxiety when you get reports back from the buyer saying that your house is in a certain condition and they want you to reduce the price or they want you to pay for this and that. So also remember up front, take care of those inspections and the issues with the house up front so it's not a surprise. And then finally closing the sale. Once you get over the inspections, you get through all of that, we get to closing, which is settlement or closing. It's the last step in selling your home. This is where you get to sign the final paperwork, making the whole thing official and collect your coins. But before this can happen, you have to prepare your home for the buyer's final walkthrough and troubleshoot any last minute issues. So with the final walkthrough, if everything goes well, final walkthrough is just the buyer walking through saying that the home is in the same condition it was in or better when they made their offer. Any repairs that they've asked to be done have been made. And if you've moved out of the house by the time they get to the final walkthrough, that you've not damaged the house in any additional way. And if all of that is clear, you get to move to the closing table, sign off. Within 48 hours of that final walkthrough, you should be at the signing table, getting ready to close escrow, and your home will be sold shortly thereafter. That was all in under 1 hour, 57 minutes. How to sell your home in a pandemic. If you or someone you know is looking to get their home sold, contact me at agentkee.com, agentkee.com, and I'll be happy to give you a free assessment on how to get your home sold during this pandemic. You've been listening to 97.5 FM KDEE. I am Agent Key, and remember, if you are doing what you were created to do, I will see you at the top. Then I ain't gonna see you. If you don't get past the bottom, I'm not going to see you. Bye, you guys, and thank you for tuning in. Hasta.